YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a bit of a craft video, so if you're looking for a summer craft or an all year round craft, stay tuned. As I mentioned in my previous videos, one thing I love to do is do cross stitch. And cross stitch is a floss and fabric craft. It's different from crocheting or knitting as you're making a picture with floss. So the first thing you're going to need is a few items to get started. And I'm just going to tell you kind of what I do. So one thing you can do is you can buy kits like so, and they have the picture and everything, and they include most of the time the fabric, the embroidery floss, the needle, and then if there's any extra, like this piece has some beading in it around the eyes, you'll be able to do that as well. But sometimes what I like to do is there are a lot of free patterns online, and I've been really enjoying doing that as I get to kind of pick and choose. I can also pick and choose the length. Something like this would take me a couple months to finish just because I don't do it every day all day long. But one of the patterns I found that I'm really excited to get started with is this little like Christmas frog. Now I try to do my patterns for Christmas starting in the summer so that I actually finish on time. So it's kind of hard to see. It's symbols and it's a little frog, and you'll need your pattern, so I have that here. Now if you're doing it yourself, you're gonna need your fabric. Now these fabric pieces I love. I just found them. They come 5 in a set, actually a little bit more than that it looks like, and they're just about a 5 by 5 square, which most small cross-stitch patterns are that size. So you're going to need a piece of fabric. You can also buy them in different types of things. You can also make breadcloths out of them, which people don't really use anymore. And then you'll need needles. I love this case. My mom got this case for me. It has a magnetic like band for my needles, so I keep that in there and then it locks shut. So you'll need needles. You'll also need a hoop. Now there's all different kinds of hoops, all different sizes. This is a plastic hoop that works great. It's a little bit on the big side for this specific project, but that would work. And then the other kind of hoop I have is a metal cork hoop. These are my favorite hoops. This is what I learned to work on, and it just has just enough give to really hold. And again, you just twist this to adjust it closed once the fabric's inside. You'll need your floss, embroidery floss. These are pretty cheap, I would say. You can buy the packs of them, but I just go ahead, use my pattern and the symbols guide, and then I look for the number, and the number is gonna be at the end of that floss. So grab all the colors you need, wrap them on individual embroidery cards, label them, I don't know if you can see that, with the number, and then put them in an embroidery ring so I don't lose them, and have a little pair of embroidery scissors. Now I'm going to go through today just the initial steps to starting to set up your project. I'll go through in another video how to actually do the cross stitch, but for right now I'm just going to go through the setup process. All set up with the materials we need to start. We have our pattern, the color guide with the DMC numbers, our needles. I also like a highlighter. I'll show you how to use that in a second. Our hoop, our scissors. This is the first color, which I found by looking at the center point. I'll show you how to do that. And I just wanted to show this is the brand of the pieces, and they're actually 6 inch by 6 inch. So not 5 by 5, but a little bit longer. And I know that this will fit this pattern. So the first thing you want to do is find your center point. Now on this pattern, it thankfully gave us this first arrow. This arrow shows us going straight down where our center point will be. We have a second arrow here. So all we want to do is trace and follow through all the way down to our center point, which looks to be right about here. Now, we need to know where this center point is so we can start on our fabric. So on our fabric, which we just have our small 6 inch by 6 inch piece, we're going to fold it into quarters. So one time in half, second time. Now one thing I didn't do here that you might want to do is just add duct tape to the edge so that they don't fray as you're working with it. But now we have our center point right where those crisscross, and that matches on our grid this center point right here. We're then going to place the grid into our hoop. Fabric right on top of the bottom hoop that has the cork. And we want to get it as centered as possible. Takes a little finagling. I'm going to actually loosen this up just by turning down the hoop onto the fabric and then tighten. Our center point, we're going to look back at our chart and find the closest symbol to work with. Now I chose to work with this spade symbol, and when I look to my chart, I see this spade symbol is pine needles and it's number 700, and that's my fabric right here. So I'm going to pull that piece out to be about an arm's length, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And then I can put the string aside for the time being. Now what you're going to do is simply dab down so you can see all the threads of that one strand you pulled. And then you're going to pull out just one of those strands. Just pull out one and hold the rest and pull all the way. So now you have that single thread and then a pile that is left over. I put the two ends of my single strand together, and the other hand has created a loop, and that's what I want to use. With my needle that I have here, what I'm going to do is just wet the ends here so that they stick together, and just thread both of those through the end. All right, there we go. So now we have a 2-ply, and the best part is that it is a loop on the end. So here we are. We have everything to start. We have our needle threaded with the big loop at the end, and we have our chart. Now I just made a little bit of a larger hole at that center point where that crisscross was, and we see it right here with the highlighted. Now this color is pine needle, which is the spade. So what I need to do is actually count up 2 blocks to get to a spade and 1 over to get to the first spade. So watch as I do this. I'm going to count up 1, 2, top left corners, and then 1 over. And that will be my first point. Now what I do is come up from the bottom, pull my needle almost all the way through, and I just want to show you what I'm doing on the back. I'm leaving that little loop. You want to keep that loop there. You see how that's open? And so going back, I pulled, not all the way through. Now find that crisscross down to the bottom right. Pull your needle through all the way. And what you're going to do as you come back up, you're going to go through that loop, and as you pull, it stops your thread. No, not needed. It's fantastic. And then what you're going to do is just follow your chart. You have 2 spades here, so you're going to do 1. There's your first one. Go right to the top left again, and 2. And the last thing you have to do is just go back over them crisscross. So I was in the bottom right, top right from the back, through, and cross, down to the bottom left, and then up again, top right, and down again, bottom left. And I have completed my first row with that color. And what I'll do just to remember where I'm at is I'll go to my chart, highlight the 2 I have done. I hope this helps in getting you started on your very first cross stitch, and I'll link to where I found this free cross stitch online. Thanks for watching! I hope you enjoy this video. Hopefully it gave you a new fun craft to try out and a little bit of encouragement to try something new. Thank you for watching.